Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good afternoon and welcome to Urban Lifestyle Cafe. I'm Michael, your bougie black brother, and I'm here with my co-host and wife, Alicia.
Hello.
And we on a different trajectory, as they would say, when you take off in a different direction and not normally where you normally would be. So we're in the middle of looking at some international series. So Netflix does a amazing job at picking out a lot of good, different kind of series.
Foreign films,
foreign series,
Yep.
foreign TV shows.
Yep.
That we had an opportunity to sit down, and there was some buzz from the critics and all.
And you got to understand, everybody really don't know. Me and Mr. Carr love foreign films.
And it's because there's so much detail and
Storylines are different.
Storylines are very
Totally different. You know, different perspective.
And they're built up so you'll be able to kind of, it may take a little longer than American films, but once you get the gist, you know exactly who everybody is, you know exactly what they have done in their past, and then the story starts. And that's why a lot of people don't like it. The other reason is they're subtitled. It's because
I think that's the main reason.
they're in different languages, and
Yep.
people are too lazy
To read
or
the subtitle.
can't read fast enough to be able to keep up with it. So it makes it a little difficult. Netflix does have a dubbing option. So,
Only on some. That's not on everything.
yeah, not on everything.
Yeah, that's
but
not
they have
on
a
everything.
dubbing option. So if you get a recommendation, see if you can see if there's a dub version in English. Some of them have, some of them don't. But the one we're kind of looking at, or not kind of looking at, but we finished watching, was a German series called Dark. D-A-R-K. So if you didn't know. So really, really interesting because this is the first German original series produced by Netflix. So they didn't grab a series that was in Germany and then turn around and just redid it. This was something that Netflix said, I'm going to do a German TV series. And they paid for it and got it going. And this is the first one. So what did people start talking about this? Is it a horror? Is it a sci-fi? Is it a drama? And what's so funny about it, it's all the above. And what made it really, really crazy is how they did it. So let me read the premise of this. It says, when two children go missing in a small German town, its sinful past is exposed along with the double lives and fractured relationships that exist on four families that are searching for their kids. The mystery drama series introduces an intricate puzzle filled with twists that includes a web of curious characters, all who are connected in this troubled town and a troubled history, whether they know it or not. The story includes supernatural elements that lie back to the same town in 1986. So, not telling you much, is it? Don't say much.
No, it doesn't.
That doesn't explain much, do you?
Yeah, it's kind of like, what is it about?
Yeah. Okay, so what is it about? It's about relationships and,
The four families.
Yeah,
got
so-
some issues.
yeah,
I
they got
mean,
some
it,
issues.
it doesn't really tell you anything. That doesn't really
tell you really what
Nothing.
was going on.
nothing.
So again, I love how you go through the chronological order. So when you first started looking through this, Alicia, and when you first turned it on, and it was one of the kids was missing. What did you get? So here's the clue. There's a family, and I think 25 years ago, one of the guys, he was a police officer, right?
Right.
One of the police officers' brother went missing. and they had no idea what happened. It crushed their family. And you don't know this yet, but he had issues back then. But the first couple of series, or the first couple of episodes, they just showed you what was currently happening.
Right. So they show you a little boy they show you post of a little boy missing, a young boy missing. And then you saw the family basically attack the police saying, why can't you find my son?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're like, okay, so they lost their son. Okay, so they're trying to find their son, and it was like he just became missing. So they were trying to figure out how, where to find him at, where they're looking at.
And that was 2017.
Right, that was 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's 2019.
Yeah.
Because it's 2019. It's 33 years. 2019, 1986, and 1953.
Yeah. So we didn't mention 1953.
Right. So these are the three things that it has a lot to do with this whole TV series. Because what they mean by dark, it's dark. Because you really have to pay attention to a lot of the details to this to understand what's really going on. So we have one child missing. The police officer is panicking because he said this has happened to his brother. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of weird because you really don't, at the beginning, you really don't know how they all connected. But he's having an affair with Hannah.
Yeah, so another family.
Right.
Where, I'm sorry. Let's go back to the beginning again. Part of the portion on the beginning was a man in a room, and he was just drawing crazy pictures. And he hung himself.
That's correct.
He hung himself. Mm-hmm. No reason whatsoever, but then they move on. After they move on...
Remember, they showed the letter that he left.
Yeah, he left a letter
which said, do not
open until...
November something.
Yeah,
it was
November
13 with the date and time on it. And so the thing is, when I was asking Michael, said, didn't the police find that?
Yeah, I know, right?
And so, because it goes next to a lady holding the letter.
Right.
And she didn't open it. She read it and she didn't open it.
So she kept it in a box.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
And she kept looking at it and then looking up at the clock.
Right.
And you're like, the fuck? You know what I mean? So it was weird. So you still don't know what the hell's going on.
No.
And so they're looking for the one child.
Remember, it goes to Hannah, who's in the bed with the police officer, and her son
said, I love you.
Yeah, her son was downstairs saying, Ma.
Yeah. And then the sound wasn't on, so we had to put the sound back on. But yeah, so we didn't know what he was saying. No, he was saying it in English. He was like, Mama. I was like, the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And then they started talking
Say the
English.
power was out.
Yeah, the power was out. So then we switched it to dub. So then they was speaking German. And one of the reasons we enjoyed German because we lived there. So all the atmosphere and the different things that we were really familiar with. So I enjoy seeing that in a different way. And it's 33 years apart, baby.
Yeah, 33 years. I said that. Yeah.
So I thought it was 25, but you're right. It was 33.
Yeah.
So, he having sex with her. Then he climbs out of the window.
Right, he climbs out the window. We're like, what the hell?
We're like, what the fuck is going on?
Because he didn't want
the son
to know.
Even though the son
knew.
Already fucking knew.
Right. And so
he goes back to his home.
Right.
With his wife and
his
kids.
His 3 kids, who Micah is Mika. Miguel, yeah.
His name is
his
Michael,
son with
Miguel.
And he has on this skeleton jumpsuit.
Yeah, because he wants to be a magician.
Right.
And he was the youngest.
Right.
Because there was another son and a daughter.
No, you know what? There's 4 of them. Because there was 2 older ones. Because the younger daughter spoke sign language, and that was a different one.
That was a different one.
Okay.
That was the police officer daughter. Remember the female police officer's daughter.
Okay.
She was the one with the sign language.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And then her husband was another weird fuck.
Right. And then you had the police officer with his 3 kids.
Yeah, his 3 kids.
Right. And the son was like, you stole my hoodie. And he's like, I didn't take your hoodie.
No, I didn't take your goddamn hoodie and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And then, but the oldest one was hanging out with the son of Hannah, right?
Yes. I think so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's really confusing.
Yeah, Hannah's son is having issues because he was dreaming about his father.
Right.
And so the psychiatrist was giving pills to get the dreams to stop. And he was like, this shit ain't working.
Yeah, this shit ain't
so
working.
he stopped taking it.
But he went away though. So when he went back to school, so I know this is like all over the place, but this show was extraordinary. You really have to pay attention to it. They're showing just the families, but you kind of like, so they don't like each other. The first thing you just thought was they don't like each other.
Yeah, all the teenagers.
Yeah.
So some form of fashion, they
know
knew each other,
but
they didn't get
older
along.
Portions, the older, like the fathers and the mothers, they really just didn't get along.
Yeah. Now we're just talking about the younger ones right now.
Okay. Then we get to the parents.
Yeah, because we got that's another thing because that's the next level of it. So with the kids, all of them know each other
because they go to the same school.
Right. And so, the young boy, the police
Hannah's son. Wait a minute. Go back to Hannah's son. Hannah's son just got back to the school.
Okay.
Because they knew what happened to his father.
Right.
But what was told was he was in France somewhere.
Right. But his father was the one that hung himself. And right. So
so Hannah's husband. But they thought because he just went away so he can relax. But he was in a psychiatric care.
Right.
You find that out a little later. So jump to that. But he went back to school. But he had a little girlfriend. And his little girlfriend was one of the other kids. She had a brother. And they were together. Which was kind of weird too. Because it was them two. Then he had a friend that actually started dating his girlfriend when he left.
Right.
But he was the rich family. He was part of the rich family. A family that actually worked at the nuclear power plant.
Right, and we didn't mention that.
No, but not yet because you want to stick with the kids.
Right.
Remember, you wanted to stick with the kids.
Well, we have to say that the town is the home of a nuclear
power plant.
Yeah. That you have to let that should have been.
That's like the center.
That's the center of this whole thing.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know that. Though,
right, you wouldn't know that.
They didn't introduce anything with the first couple of episodes.
Right,
which was really cool because you're trying to wondering what the hell is going on. So they went looking for the child, and you got all of these kids in the police station.
No. We have that was the one, but the first one that disappeared. Right. Then Mikhail. Yep, disappeared. Which was the police officer's son.
Right.
Okay, and he went through the tunnel into the cave. So
remember, they all went to say, let's go pick up one of the guys. What was it? One of the guys was selling drugs, and since he disappeared, the one that disappeared, they had some hidden drugs over there where the tunnel was. There was like a tunnel in the middle of the forest, but they hid some drugs in a chair. So they said, let's get together. I know where the drugs is. So they said that in school. So they went there. But he brought his little brother along with him because no one was able to watch him, and they brought them. So they was in the middle. But then they started hearing something when there was another girl that was at the school too, and I forgot who her parents were. Remember the one? And they was like, give me the goddamn drugs. But she went there before they did and took it away from under the chair.
I can't remember who she was.
Yeah, she kind of lost me, but she started dealing with the group too. But so they was out there, and then they heard something like doom, 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 and then it was like, what the hell's going on? And they running away, and Hannah's son and Mikhail was running together. They just left that little kid, and he was like, damn, that's fucked up. They left him. But soon as he fell and the little boy fell and he ran away, and they was like, I thought he came back, and they met each other on the road, but come to find out he was gone. So he was gone, and you was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? So it seems like something in the forest was either killing these kids or taking these kids. So that's the impression that initially you think of a horror movie.
Right.
So you don't know if it was a creature or some Jason-like character that was fucking killing kids. You don't know that. But it led you into that for the first couple of episodes, and you was like, damn, I wonder what the hell is in that damn cave. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because they kind of went in there, but they was kind of like cautious to go inside. So anyway, the family shows up and they start looking in the forest. So where the hell is the child?
Everybody didn't even know about the cave.
Yep. So they just avoided it. Mm-hmm. But then they start going back and looking at the cave. So as they started looking in the forest for a couple of days, because the officer wife was, the main officer that was sleeping with Hannah, he didn't want to deal with Hannah no more.
No, because Hannah was
Hannah
crazy.
was a trip. That bitch was
Hannah was crazy.
Fucking crazy.
And so let's go into the part where the families, the adults had something to do also with the cave.
In what way?
So remember, the police officer found the cave, and he went through it. So let's go back a minute. So we found out, and go deeper into the series, that the cave, some part of the cave is a time travel machine.
Yeah, so you jumped to that. But so before they found out that the cave was that, they found a child. So they was looking, and they found a child buried under leaves. He had a Walkman. He had some older type clothes on, and his eyes were burned. But they was like, we don't know who this child is. They just didn't know who it was.
Because it was nobody's child there.
Nobody there.
Right.
Which was interesting because, again...
How many children was missing?
A
total of?
2 at that time. That was 2 at that time. Remember, the first one before the series started, and then Mikael... Because that's when they was looking for Mikael, that's when they found this child. Mm-hmm. But no one can identify the child. So they was kind of like, whatever, just put that child in there. But he had like old clothes on. And it was kind of like, the fuck is that all about? And then it was like, so how long has he been dead? Because it don't look like he's from this era.
But the thing is the years were getting confusing. So when the Walkman, that was 1986 where they found that. He came from 1986.
But here's the thing. No one knew that.
No, I know that.
Right.
So, because that was 2019 that he came to.
Yeah. So when they was looking for him, they found this child 2019.
Right. So that's why I wanted to make sure you mention that, because when we start talking about it, you start seeing people from other time going to the other time.
They didn't show that.
No, they didn't.
During that time. No, but later on they did. Mm-hmm. So I get what you're saying. So... Oh, I see what you're saying, because we can go forever with this. I got you. So, come to find out, that was the police officer's brother that was lost 33 years ago. Mm-hmm. But he was dead now. So, what happened to him? No one fucking knows. But later on, you find out there's a group that knows that time travel exists. And they keep trying to put these kids in a room to test them, to get them to time travel. So they put these things over their eyes and this electrical current and whatever like that. And it kind of burns them in that way, which was like really, really weird. Mm-hmm. But you don't know that because they never tell you until it's time. But there's a guy, what's his name? Noah? Mm-hmm. So Noah is back in 33 years back from 1986.
Right.
So that was what, 1956?
1956.
Yeah, so 1956. Mm-hmm. You see other episodes. There was 2 children that died.
Yep, and they found
that they found.
Yep,
but with the same type
and remember,
of burns.
In 1956, they hadn't built the nuclear plant yet.
So
they found the bodies
at the site.
Yep,
and so they was trying to think that at the site someone was trying to like sabotage them in that way, but that wasn't the case. So what Alicia said was, throughout all of this with these children missing, you just don't know what was going on. So what was really going on is something happened with the power plant that triggered a time warp. And that time warp is 33 years behind.
Right. So there was only 3 years. There was only three. Yeah, the years they were dealing with was 1953, 1986, and 2019.
Yep.
And so the thing was that everybody in some form connected, because the families that lived around there lived there for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them moved there from 1953. So when you think about how this show Dark started, it starts from the families that have been living there for almost, I think, what is it, several centuries, not centuries.
Decades,
yeah, right.
Several decades.
Because in Germany, and if everybody don't know, Germany, people who live in these towns, they don't move. Their family, basically, the family lives. A lot of their family lives together. Their children live together, and then when their family die, they take over their land and so forth. So they continue to live in these
within
towns.
those towns.
Yeah.
Because
So
there's no reason to go out there.
Right.
And especially when everybody was being employed at the power plant. So there was people back in 1986 that knew what was going on.
In 1953.
In 1953.
Right.
So there's people that went crazy that knew something was wrong. So there was a cop that was way back in 1986 that knew that some of these kids was just bad kids. But he knew something was happening. Mm-hmm. But he didn't want to tell anybody. Then he had other people that knew what was going on that wouldn't say anything about it because it was private. So we can go on forever with these series because it's so intricate of the connections all through there. But since that three-prong thing, what we found out, or what you'll find out if you watch this, is some of these families are related to each other because the father of Mikhail went back to the past.
Yeah.
But he didn't go back to 86. He went back to 53.
Yeah, 53, yeah.
So Hannah's son found the place because this one man came up to him and said, here's a map of what you need to look for if you want to have answers about your father. So he found that and went back to 86. And when he went back to 86, he saw that wasn't Hannah's son. That was the other guy because he saw his brother. Was that the one with his brother?
That's the police officer that went back to 1953.
Yeah. No. The one that went back to 86. The young boy that went to 86. Was that a Hannah's son or was that the police officer's son?
That was Hannah's son.
So he was going to bring back Mikhail, which was...
That's what he was trying to find.
Yeah, because he was kind of like, what the fuck's going on, right?
Because there's another one with the black jacket who came... Remember he had passports and changed his name and everything? Wasn't he went through the... Didn't he went through the time machine
one
too?
with the passports.
Yeah, when Hannah found the passports, he was changing his passports. He got shot. And the girl with the glasses, he protected the girl with the glasses and pulled the gun out and told him, if you don't leave her alone.
Oh, him. Yeah. But that was back in 1953.
Yeah, so he didn't go through the time show. Okay.
He was somebody else.
Okay.
But the one I'm talking about is the one that talked to Hannah's son. And when he went back and saw Mikhail, he turned around and said he was going to bring him back. And he told him, you can't do this because you don't know what will change in the future. So
was Hannah's son. That was Hannah's son because Hannah's son was going all through time in that.
So what I said was Hannah's son went back and he was trying to take back Mikhail, which was the police officer's son. Mm-hmm. But the man who told him to get there told him not to do that.
Yeah, that was him telling himself.
Well, yeah, you find that out later that the guy who's trying to help this guy through is himself because he's trying to figure out how to close this portal that was underground in this cave. And it's like everything, but what he found out is with that kid that went back, Mikhail turns out to be his father, even though the child was born. And then the father of the actual kid from there is his aunt. And I was like, this is so fucking crazy.
Listen,
Because there's so many different eras that people kept going back in the past.
because they were showing the parents and how their relationship was, and how it came back to, like, they went back to Hannah when she was younger. Hannah was drama. Hannah was a bitch.
But she was in love with the police officer guy.
Right. She was Uric.
Yeah, Udick.
Yeah. So she did everything to make everybody turn against anybody that she wanted him for herself. So she did everything to mess up, tell everybody that's who she wanted. Everybody knew that except for him, and he had to go back to the police records to find out that Hannah was the one that told on her. And he was like, "You crazy bitch,
leave me alone, don't fucking fuck with me no more."
Yep.
And she was like, "You're gonna pay for this." She said, "Don't worry."
So there's a lot of other things that go on besides, because you kind of understand why all of it happened once you start understanding the adults and how their relationship was, and then how it trickled down to the kids.
Yep. So the thing is, and then what you call it found out, because a portion that we didn't understand until later on in the episodes was, why was these kids being killed?
Yes.
And this guy Noah, you got to talk to Noah.
Noah was just a crazy.
He was a crazy priest.
Yep, because the little boy, remember the police officer beat the little boy with the rock, thinking that he killed him.
But that little boy
was
the man that worked at the power plant,
right? Who was kidnapping the kids?
He was kidnapping the kids for Noah,
right?
But you didn't know why. But the reason was Noah and some other people that we don't know yet created a time portal, and they was testing it to say, except for going through these caves, we can make our own,
right?
Because the police officer's husband, who, like men, because you come to find out there's a gay prostitute that lives in a little camper that he used to go out there and get hand jobs from and whatever like that.
Just remember, there's two police officers, one male, one female. Yeah. And he's talking about the female.
The female one.
Yeah, she's talking about the female one.
So he was so disturbed, and he went down in his bomb shelter outside of his home, and a split in reality dropped off a child out of nowhere.
Yep.
And he was like, what the fuck?
Yep.
And he tried to call his wife, but his wife was like, I ain't got time for your crazy ass. There's shit going on right now.
So he called the father.
Yeah, he called the father
of the child, of the son who was out. He said, you need to come here and see your son.
No.
Who was it then? The man who came.
Who was that?
That was his father. That was the boy's father.
Oh, that was the other cop's father. Remember? That was the father of the cop. Because remember, his mother...
Yeah. That's the boy who he went to the cop and said, my son has died, you need to find him. And then the guy brought him to him, and his son, he said, I don't know what happened. This is where she came to. And then that lady came.
Nope.
Yes.
See, that was the wrong one. That the child that came through the crack in time,
right,
was the police officer's brother from 33 years ago.
So who was the old man next to him?
That was his father. No.
Okay.
I don't know who that was. So I'm totally lost now. I don't know who that was. But who fell through the crack was his brother that was lost 33 years ago.
Okay.
That's why they found his body under the leaves, and it was so fresh.
Oh, so they moved the body over there.
They moved the body.
Because see, the lady told them, we need to move the body. We need to move the body fast.
Yep.
To the location need to be where he need to be.
So they can find him.
Right. So
that lady, you know who that lady was, right?
That was the girl with the glasses?
Nah.
Who's that?
That was her mother. That was the one that was running the power plant back in 1953.
Oh, yeah.
Because she disappeared.
Yeah, because she was talking to, she told the guy, can you keep a secret?
Yep.
And so.
And her daughter runs the hotel.
Right. I remember that, yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many characters in this. There's so much detail in this show that it's too much. We can never explain it without going into too much details, and it'll probably take hours. But the gist of this show is It's time travel.
It's time travel, yeah, from a little town. Only the little town has everything to do with the damn power plant.
And it's 33 years from 19. It's 33 years and then 33 years back from that. And it's three-pronged. So everybody who dealt with each other back in these three different eras affects what's going on currently.
Yeah, because even Yorick went through the time travel, and his ass is stuck in 1953 because they thought he killed the two boys.
Yeah, they thought he killed all three of them.
And it was so funny because the guy's like, "Look, you see what they got on? Made from China."
How,
it was like,
how did that?
I don't know. It was, and it's interesting because they did such a good job on that.
On the level of detail.
Yes,
because he found a cell phone in his coat.
Oh yeah, and took the cell phone
to some watchmaker.
No, he took it out of his jacket.
Yeah, he took it out of his jacket, but he was a watchmaker.
Yeah, so
he started creating shit.
Yeah, he sure did.
So it's about time travel. It's almost horror. It's a drama, and it lets you know throughout this. And once you figure it out, you're like, oh, okay. They're going through three different eras. Okay, now how are they going to close this up?
Yeah.
But at the end,
they travel again to the future. Yeah.
So how did the future occur? Because it only supposed to have been three.
Yep.
But now
it may be
it's
four.
Yep. But we don't know, and we don't know why.
It's a very good show. If you don't want to read subtitles, you could dub it in English, and it's very, very good. I really liked the show because it was like, how they did it. I think the idea of them, how they created to do a time travel. Everybody's done time travel shows with big machines and stuff like that, or running someplace. But this was like really cool because it's just one. Because they do have a little machine. It was a little small machine. Remember?
But they was trying to create that. That had nothing to do.
That has still had nothing to do with time travel.
The initial time travel that caused it. So with all that information, this watchmaker wrote a book, and even though he wrote a book, someone from the future helped him make a time traveling machine. But it never lets you know. It gives you all the detail, but it doesn't explain every single thing, and it gets you to pay attention each time the next series comes on, because you're kind of like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Wait a minute. So that's his family. Oh my God, wait a minute. How is that him?
Yeah.
And then you realize every time they went back in time and somebody's got caught in time, it changed things, and people don't understand they're related in one way or another.
Right.
But they still exist. So Mikhail exists in the future, but he left, but then he grows up to be this young boy's father. But there's so much that was going on. So it's such an intricate, very, very, very good show. And like Alicia say, it's going to autoplay dubbed in English. So you'll be fine. As soon as you cut it on, it's just going to be in English. But the subtitles, you can actually go from that. So I think this is an amazing series. We can't wait for the next season, because it was done so well, and it gave you a lot of information, but left so much open, because there's so many characters, and they kept building on characters and building on characters and building on characters. But each time they built on characters, it made the characters relate to each other. So you needed to know them. They didn't just add people just to add them. They added them because they had a relationship either back in 53, or they had a relationship back in 86, or they were a relationship that went back from 1986, to 2019, that went back to 86. So most of the critics is like astounded by it.
Yeah, the ratings was really great on this movie. And this, I'm telling you, and a lot of people do not like to do foreign films, but foreign films they're much better than a lot of American films that put out there right now.
So if you into quality and a lot of shows that really means a lot, not just giving you all the answers up front and you're just waiting for the show to end.
Yeah,
There's
because
a lot of them that you'll watch and you know what's going to happen. You just got to wait until the end and say, "Yep, I knew that was going to happen."
because one of my favorite films I watched way back was the General, the French one, where he had died, and he didn't know he had died.
That wasn't a general. That was two different ones. But
That was two different ones.
two different shows. I mean, two different movies.
No,
He wasn't a general.
Okay.
The general one, I know because he's in both of them. One of them is Gerard Depardieu. He's in two different ones. One of them is about he was a general and they thought he died, and there was all the bodies, and he came from underneath the bodies, and he came back to his kingdom, and they didn't believe him. And then there was one that a guy was picked up off the side of the road, and they was interrogating him. It seems like at a police station.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm not talking about the other one.
Yeah, but you said a general, and I was like, no,
Yeah, I was
that's
thinking
not a
about
general.
but he was a police officer.
No, he
was-
wasn't a police officer. The people who was interrogating him
Oh, a police officer.
seemed like they was police officers, but
Right.
they was actually like what is it?
Interrogators.
Actually, they was preparing him to go to heaven.
Right. That's exactly right.
So
That was my favorite one.
yeah, but that was I forget the name of that.
Yeah.
But you really had to wait on that. You definitely had to wait on that because it was you didn't know where it was going, and it sounded like they was trying to figure out that he murdered somebody, and you was waiting to find out who he murdered, but he didn't murder anybody.
Nope.
They was just trying to explain to him, dude, you're dead. You
Yeah, I
killed
know. It
yourself.
wasn't that. I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah. So back to what Alicia said, but what we do, we kind of look at television series now. And if you look at television series, it's done the same way. It just takes a little longer.
Yeah,
for
not
it to
only that,
become
they don't have. These are short series. A lot of the European TV shows don't last as long as American TV shows. So their series are a little bit more shorter, and it's straight to the point. They don't drag you on all the time.
Yeah. But they get to it and then they end it. And
Yeah.
they're kind of like,
Yeah.
we're done.
And it's like, that's really cool. You like, yeah, that's awesome. So that, okay, there's several good Netflix shows out there that are foreign independent, foreign TV series on there, and they are really, really good. And me and Michael, and it's not just a lot of them. Some of them are British, and they're not all. There's some of them are what we got British.
The Swedish.
Yep.
We have French. Some Italian. There's a lot of Colombian and what is it? South American. Great. What you call it?
A lot of South American good shows in South America. So you open up your horizons and start exploring some of the foreign film on Netflix. You'd be surprised.
Oh,
Really
and don't forget the Korean. Those are
yeah, they're good.
amazing.
They're good.
But they're intense. They're very, very intense. So if you're not prepared, some of it is very violent and some of it is very intense. So kind of be prepared for those. But this is extraordinary, and the director is actually from Finland, or he's like a Swedish. He's a Swedish director. So he's doing a German movie, but he's done a couple of different American shows as well. So when you see it, you're kind of like, okay, who is this guy? But he created this. So he wrote and created it and directed. So it's like really good. So the one that Alicia was talking about is A Pure Formality. It's 1994. It's called A Pure Formality. And the other one that she was talking about, The General, It's called Colonel Chabert, Chabert. Amazing. Both of them are two amazing. Those was like the first two movies that we saw Gerard Depardieu in, and then we just became fans of his because he's just an amazing actor. He's not very attractive, but he's one of the best French actors that you would want to see.
Yeah,
he's done 220 different movies.
And my husband was like, the one thing about the French, you don't have to be pretty to act.
You just got to be a good actor or actress.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. So, but this is really worth it. This is a really good series. You'll get pulled into it because, like some of the critics say, this is a very hard movie to watch, but it's impossible to stop watching. You just get into it. You're kind of like, damn, I don't get this. And instead of giving up, it makes you continue to watch it. But you get so confused because they don't give everything to you at once. They slowly give it to you. And then you're like, what the fuck? And then they come back and it's like, okay. And then you're back in 1953 and whatever was going on in 2019, you have to let that go because what you're looking at right now relates to something else. So what went on in 1953 affects 1986, or what happens in 1986 still affects what happened in 1953.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta pay attention
because it changes. What happens that when they come into that time, it changes everything that they didn't want to change. They were trying to say every time you come in there and you touch something, you change something.
But it changed it to what it's supposed to be. But you don't know if what is being changed is what should be changed. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really validate that this is wrong, but it doesn't validate that it was right either. It just shows you how two different people went back to the past. But it also shows that this one guy, Noah, is in every era. He keeps showing up every goddamn where.
Noah is not
so
to be trusted.
he gets to travel, but you don't know how is he going through the cave. Did his time machine work? Did the kid that found himself, because he showed up in 2019 and said, I'm from the future. And I was kind of like, wait a minute. Who did he say he was from the future? Because he had to be from the future because in 2019, he saw himself.
Right.
So he was from the future. But yet, the story was based on 3 previous 33 years ago. So, well worth it. We can go on forever. Well worth it. So, like Alicia said, we don't rate them, but this is a must-see. If you're really into the supernatural and sci-fi that really doesn't go into, a kind of technical stuff, because it really don't get really technical.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't get technical.
It's more supernatural than technical.
Yeah, it's you trying to figure out which family did what in what time.
Or how did they get to that time and what affected the timeline. Mm-hmm. And, so that's what was going on. So really, really amazing. So anything else, Boo?
Nope, baby. That's it.
Amazing. Dark. D-A-R-K on Netflix. Again, you can get it dubbed or you can see it with the subtitles, which it's a lot more dramatic with the subtitles because the inflections of the voices and everything makes it really, really more powerful. But if you don't have the patience for it, the dub is pretty good. You can go with the dub. Urban Lifestyle Cafe. I'm Michael, your bougie black brother. Follow us on bougieblackbrother.com under Urban Lifestyle Cafe. Movies. I'm going to separate that out and you just click that one and go from there. Then we have the little blog because we have a couple of other series that we went through that I blogged about, but then it came back and Alicia and I kind of went through it. So you'll see the blog and then you see the movies and TV shows. I'm not going to separate the TV shows from the movies. Just too much to go through. Bougie Black Bro on Instagram and Twitter. Find BLK Woman on Instagram as well as Twitter. And every download from the podcast other than Spotify, you can download us. Get Podbean. That app is just great, and it just pulls everything down from there. But if you have iTunes, it makes it a lot better. Because if you don't want to go through Bougie Black Brother Network, which is on Facebook, or everything that's under the Bougie Black Brother, you can get it under Urban Lifestyle Cafe on Google Play or iTunes. Other than that, thank you so much, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Wednesdays is our day for our movie review. So thank you so much for stopping by, and bye-bye.
Bye.